We do have two chairs up here. So.
Hi, I'm Marty Fisher on behalf of the California Chamber of Commerce, and we are here in opposition because we believe that SB 185 unfairly targets one type of business from which to divest, and then it goes on to the next one, fossil fuels, with the study to determine the impact, and that leaves us wondering which business or industry is next. We're concerned that our members could be targeted if their industry or product is out of favor with the legislature at the time. Instead, we think investment decisions should be based on sound economic principles. The California economy relies on our energy sector to provide reliable and affordable fuels, and targeting them for financial harm could be harmful to the state's economy. Prior divestiture bills, AB 221 in 2007, and also the Koretz bill in 2006, 2941. The precedent for these for divestiture was to protect the funds from the threat of financial risk, whereas this bill has a different precedent. It seeks to use the funds to advance a new precedent to promote energy policy. This creates a concern that just about every industry could be the next target for divestiture. The Constitution requires the boards to act solely in the interest of and for the exclusive purposes of providing benefits to participants and their beneficiaries, minimizing employer contributions, and defraying reasonable expenses of administering the system. But we're concerned that the divestiture could harm and threaten the financial strength of the funds by using these funds to target unpopular companies. So we urge you to give funding of retirement obligations the highest priority and to protect those who depend on it for their retirement.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members, Ed Manning with KP Public Affairs on behalf of the Western States Petroleum Association in opposition. This bill, on the one hand, seems symbolic and maybe not that significant. On the other hand, in terms of the precedent it sets, it is hugely important. There are two examples in the analysis of two times that California has chosen to divest. One is in the Iranian energy sector, where the Iranians were illegally developing nuclear weapons, threatening most of the Western civilization. The second was the Sudan, where some of the greatest atrocities and genocidal activities have happened in the last several decades. So when you single out the oil and gas industry, as this bill does, for a study on divestment, it is a scarlet letter on the industry. In California, the oil industry, just the oil industry, not oil and natural gas, represents 2.3% of total California employment. That's 468,000 jobs. 40 billion in labor income, which is 3.1% of California's total labor income. 113 billion total economic value, 5.4% of total GDP contribution in California. GDP. Yeah.
I just heard him say
Yeah. Yes, the numbers don't lie. 220 billion in direct economic output, which is 7% of California's total economic output. So this is a significant bill for the oil and gas industry. That we have multiple California headquartered energy companies, employ a lot of people in a lot of your districts. And we don't think the oil and gas industry belongs in this bill for study for divestment. Obviously, this week, the CalPERS investment committee recommended that coal itself not be disinvested. So from a fiduciary responsibility perspective, it would be almost impossible to divest from the entire energy industry, natural gas and petroleum. But more importantly, it sends a terrible, terrible signal to the hundreds of thousands of people we employ in California and to the companies that are headquartered here. So for those reasons, we oppose the bill. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Any other witnesses? All right, seeing no other witnesses in opposition, questions from committee members? Senator Morrell.
Yes, sir. Senator De Leon, how are you? It's taken me a while.
Hey, a couple of things. Which is more important? Because there is a balance here between, climate control, but also a return on your investment. I have two questions, so that would be the first. I guess the second question, which is the more important thing you're trying to accomplish, the climate control or return on investment? Because my big concern is we're members of the legislature.
Sure.
And they have a board that appoints and hires investors, because right now my concern is CalPERS is pretty upside down for their future pensions. They're not fully funded, and the figures you hear are astronomical, and that doesn't even include the future health care benefits. So I'm real leery when we put financial things into the hands of the legislature, when there's some pretty smart people that are investing their money. So
Let me take my best shot at it, Mr. Morrell. A couple things. One, with regards to thermal coal, and I want to just bifurcate the question with regards to coal and fossil fuels, that being oil and gas, and separate that, and just focus primarily on coal. The focus of this measure in itself is that of coal, not primarily gas or oil. I appreciate the concerns of WISPA, but let me get to your point. Thermal coal is one of the leading causes of acid rain, of toxic pollution, and of carbon dioxide emissions into our atmosphere. So unquestionably, it plays one of the biggest roles that we have with regards to the depletion and erosion of the ozone layer, what is atmospheric, and having a severe negative economic impact on industry in the United States, especially, I would say, in the Central Valley, where we have a scarcity of water and drought, high unemployment. So the climate issue is critical now, specifically to the fiduciary responsibility of the board members of both pension plans, both CalSTRS and CalPERS. To put this in context, our coal holdings for CalPERS, for example, is approximately 1/20th of 1%. 1/20th of 1%. The current holdings of coal, thermal coal in CalSTRS is 7/10 of 1%. I would say that, and I appreciate the question, because always, first and foremost, it is the fiduciary responsibility of the members of both CalPERS and CalSTRS to make sure that they hold current value, or what their ultimate goal is to increase value of the current investment portfolio. We wouldn't want to put anyone in a position, whether you're teachers, whether you're a firefighter, county government worker, a police officer, in a situation where the value of their current holdings in their retirement pension plan, decreases. That is not our goal. And in fact, I feel very securely that if we accomplish divestment, either statutorily or through the act itself by the board members themselves, that they will not lose value. I would submit to you, Mr. Morrell, that currently, especially domestic coal in the country, in the United States, domestic coal specifically, is a bad investment and is losing value tremendously in the United States. So I would venture to say, not being, and I am cognizant, not being an economic advisor or an chief investment advisor, that these are holdings that are actually losing great value as we speak today. What I'm trying to do, obviously to the objective, is push and nudge, because it is having a negative impact on our economy as a whole in the United States as we speak. I tried my best, sort of, kind of, to answer the question, to my best of my ability.
Other questions?
I'll move the bill.
Okay, well, let's wait till we finish any other questions? Okay. All right, before we take that, I just have a quick question as well.
Sure.
So I do note that that part of the bill, and I understand that taking that says, nothing in this bill should require the board to take action unless the board determines in good faith that the action is consistent with the board's fiduciary responsibility. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
So I think that hopefully that addresses some of the concerns.
No, and with that, Mr. Chair, I do recognize that Mr. Morrell has, as everyone does, as everyone should, have a concern for the current value holdings of no matter what, industry it is. If for some folks, and maybe an industry that they don't hold in high esteem, well, the reality is obviously pensions are pensions, and value is value, and retirement security is retirement security. But I feel very confident, and as you stated, in the language we have in the measure, that we're not going to put anyone in a position of fiduciary irresponsibility.
Okay, seeing no other questions, is there anything you want further to add to close?
No, just thank you very much, Mr. Chair, as well as colleagues. I do want to bifurcate the question. The focus is on coal, not on oil or other fossil fuels such as natural gas. I think that we should send a message very clear that when we're losing value and simultaneously losing value, which is a bad investment for pensioners, at the same time impacting our economy with the scarcity of water and drought and the public health impacts that young children breathe into their lungs. It's simply a risky bet that we need to bring closure to. So with that, Mr. Chair, thank you very much for your indulgence. I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. It's been moved by Senator Hall. So, Secretary, can you please call the roll?
The motion is due pass to Appropriations Committee. Pan.
Aye.
Pan, aye. Morel? Morel, no. Bell? Bell, aye. Fuller? Hall? Hall, aye.
Okay, so we'll hold the call, but it's currently 3-1, so, yes. All right, thank you, Mr. Brennan. Okay. Actually, Senator Hancock, if you don't mind, we'll take care of some business while you're coming up here. We also have one item on the consent calendar. It's item number 6, SB 216 by PAN. That's the cleanup bill for public employees retirement system. Is there a motion?
I guess so.